Tonight, is Donald Trump welcome?
He's made this bet and he's got a lie in it.
The president plans to visit two cities reeling from mass shootings as new clues emerge.
The individual had a history of obsession with violent ideations and had expressed a desire to commit a mass shooting.
Why the FBI is stepping in.
It's terrifying that something like that could happen.
A young child bitten by a bear at a BC zoo. How could it happen?
Oh, it's so snug.
Are the kids safely buckled up? Why most car seats aren't properly installed. This is The National.
In just over a week, the U.S. has seen 3 mass shootings, 3 attacks fueled by violent ideology. 34 people are dead. The most recent of those deadly attacks was in Dayton, Ohio, where the gunman's motive has been a mystery, but now the FBI has stepped in.
It's absolutely critical that we do this investigation the right way. This community and our country deserves an answer as to why this happened.
Oh, they shooting!
And the FBI also stepping into a 3rd mass shooting, announcing today that an attack in Gilroy, California, just over a week ago, is now a domestic terror case, same as the El Paso mass shooting. In a moment, we'll look at whether American authorities are equipped to handle this growing threat. And President Trump, who's been accused of fueling white nationalist sentiment, he has plans to visit both Dayton and El Paso this week, where he may not get the warmest of welcomes.
His rhetoric has been painful for many in our community, and I think that people should stand up and say they're not happy if they're not happy that he's coming.
I will fulfill my obligations as mayor of El Paso to meet with the president.
We're digging into that debate. Can the president console the very people who blame him for the violence? But we begin tonight with the latest from Dayton, Ohio, where the FBI and local law enforcement are now working together. And as Peter Armstrong explains, while authorities are still being very careful what they say, we are learning more about the man behind Sunday's deadly attack from people who knew him personally.
The individual had a history of obsession with violent ideations to include mass shootings and had expressed a desire to commit a mass shooting.
Dayton police and now the FBI are still discovering new and disturbing information about 24-year-old Connor Betts.
We have uncovered evidence throughout the course of our investigation that the shooter was exploring violent ideologies.
And that's about all investigators would say, other than they found no evidence the attack was racially motivated.
What, if any, ideology influenced the attacker to conduct this attack? Who, if anyone, helped him?
What does seem clear is the attack took planning. Betts arrived on a busy Dayton strip wearing a mask and body armor, carrying an AR-15 style rifle. Police shot and killed him within 30 seconds, but not before he shot and killed 9 people, including his own sister. Meanwhile, we're getting new insights into his state of mind.
He did a monstrous thing, but that doesn't make him a monster.
Ex-girlfriend Adelia Johnson says Betts showed her a video of a mass shooting on their first date. In high school, he reportedly had a list of men he wanted to kill and women he wanted to rape. Back then, he complained about voices in his head and told friends he was afraid of himself. Even as recently as April, Betts called Johnson.
It's easy to call them red flags because I'm not in it and I have perspective.
It's precisely that kind of concern over people with mental illness having access to firearms that's fueling the push for so-called red flag laws that would prevent anyone deemed a risk from buying guns. Ohio's governor has had people screaming "do something" at him since Sunday. Would a red flag law have prevented the Dayton shooting? Well, that's still not clear.
But I can tell you this. If we do these things, it will matter. If we do these things, it will make us safer.
Well, there seems to be bipartisan support for a red flag law. Larger changes to American gun legislation still face substantial challenges. Meanwhile, amid the tears and flowers in Dayton, investigators are still looking for clues that may provide more answers. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Washington.
Now, police in California have opened a domestic terrorism investigation into the attack at the Gilroy Garlic Festival. You'll recall it was late last month. 3 people were killed when a man opened fire at that popular food festival. Today, the FBI revealed that the 19-year-old shooter had a list of targets made up of religious and political groups, as well as federal buildings and courthouses. So the spate of shootings deemed domestic terrorism have renewed questions over the threat itself and whether the U.S. government is actually equipped to stop it.
The issue of domestic terrorism, the issue that has brought so much focus and attention in our national debate and discourse, that's real.
We keep hearing this term, domestic terrorism, and what's clear, there is a twisted hatred at play, but it's different than, say, homegrown jihadi extremism, radicalization from the outside. Domestic terrorism is driven by domestic issues.
Usually it's motivated by race, by religion, or some issue-oriented element, such as anti-government, anti-immigrant, etc.
Tonight, the FBI says it has 850 open domestic terrorism investigations. 40% are racially motivated. A majority of those deal with white supremacists. But experts say it's a much bigger problem than even those statistics show.
We've seen agencies, local and federal, specifically the FBI, being very, very cautious about defining an attack as one of domestic terrorism. The reluctance has been in tying the attacker to a political motivation, ignoring the social postings, the manifestos, the other indicators that would suggest that we've got this. They have still been quite reluctant in doing it. So we need to address this because it is overwhelmingly the #1 threat to our national security.
He has a heightened interest in weapons and explosives.
To counter those criticisms, intelligence officials say they are making domestic terrorism a priority, monitoring white supremacists and hate crimes.
The guns consisted of a shotgun, 2 long guns,
and anticipating who is likely to turn violent. The same strategy has been used in the fight against ISIS, intervening before sympathizers can carry out attacks. But the challenge now, authorities say?
I'd like to triple the staff we have available to address this and coordinate the intelligence side of it.
Enormous resources have been devoted to combating threats from groups like Al-Qaeda and ISIS, meaning threats at home have received less attention. Now, President Trump has condemned both domestic terrorism and white supremacy, but he made no mention of his own racially charged and inflammatory rhetoric about Mexican Americans, immigrants, and people of color. And as Kim Brunhuber explains, there are people in El Paso now that don't want him to show up tomorrow.
Jesse Lortz is thinking about what he would do if Donald Trump were to come to his coffee shop. He's been thinking about it since it was announced Trump was coming to El Paso tomorrow.
It just makes my heart clench up.
Because he believes the president was to blame for the horrific mass shooting in his hometown.
He's a racist bigot. I don't know how I would respond, to that person face to face.
Local Democrats especially have been vocal about their opposition to the visit.
I don't think that it would be appropriate for him to come.
The chair of the El Paso County Democratic Party says the president isn't welcome because there's a correlation between the language Trump has used when talking about immigrants and this shooting.
And until he acknowledges that and apologizes for it and stops pandering to white supremacists and encouraging hate with his Twitter feed, with his rallies, then I think he has no business coming to El Paso.
But like almost everything in this country, opinions are sharply divided along partisan lines.
What made you want to come out and shoot today of all days?
Not really much. It's just that my son had bought some new guns.
Virginia Macias, just back from a trip to Nova Scotia, is on her way to this gun range. She believes Trump is no more to blame for the shooting than the Democrats, and she's grateful he's coming to her community.
We're all Americans and he's coming, and I'm glad he is. And I think that's what counts. He's showing that he has the time, he cares for us, and he's coming out.
Back at the coffee shop, Lortz has come to a conclusion. He's decided.
What if he comes into this coffee shop?
I certainly wouldn't want to make them a cup of coffee, so.
You tell him to get lost?
Yeah, we don't want your business.
He'd tell him, we don't want your kind around here. Kim Brunhuber, CBC News, El Paso, Texas.
Now to gun violence here in Canada. Over the long weekend, from Saturday to Monday, 17 people were wounded in 14 shootings across Toronto. Police say many were targeted. but no arrests have been made. Very little information has been made public. Still, as Arthi Pohl tells us, many are again debating whether a total ban on handguns would reduce the violence.
14 shootings over the long weekend in Toronto, including this one in a nightclub. An alarming number prompting the city to send out additional patrols on the street and renewed calls from Toronto's mayor for a ban on handguns in this country, something only the federal government can bring in.
We're observing, obviously, what other countries have done or not done, and we are taking our own Canadian decisions, and we're doing so, obviously, on the eve of a very important democratic decision.
There are some federal issues about gun control.
Louis March is trying to stamp out the gun problem. He works with people who have lost family members and with people who have committed gun crimes.
They're telling us that banning the guns is not going to have an impact. They're going to get their guns because we have the largest border with the largest gun manufacturer in the world.
According to Statistics Canada, in the past 5 years, there's been a steady increase in the number of homicides involving handguns, making up nearly 60% of all firearm-related homicides in Canada in 2018.
Other forms of violence.
March believes bans won't stop those numbers from rising unless the root causes are tackled too.
If poverty is banned, there's no demand for violence and for guns. The supply will dry up.
The numbers are big in Toronto.
Wendy Sukier is all for a ban. She says Canadians collectively need to be leading the way.
Well, we know that half of the crime guns that are traced in Toronto originate in Canada. Half are smuggled. Most Canadians want stronger gun control, but they don't do anything about it. Canadians have to make this an election issue or nothing will happen.
Already, the Trudeau government has promised new measures will be announced, but it's unclear how far they'll go or if they will include a firearms ban. Arthi Pohl, CBC News, Toronto.
There was a frightening encounter at the Greater Vancouver Zoo where a black bear bit a child. She was airlifted to hospital with serious injuries to her arm. And as Tanya Fletcher tells us, it's still not clear how the child was able to get so close.
It's terrifying that something like that could happen.
Just take your eyes off your kid for like 1 second and boom, it can just happen like that.
A terrifying end to a long weekend visit to the zoo. It happened early in the evening at this black bear enclosure, home to 3 cubs.
It seems that she did manage to cross one of our safety barriers and get into an area that is for staff access.
The black bear bit the toddler on the arm, her injury said to be serious. Visitors to the zoo say the enclosure seems safe.
It's clearly marked. You're not supposed to get past the first fence.
I don't really see how it could happen because there's probably about 2-3 feet in between the fences.
But zoo staff were asked whether the area is secure enough if a 2-year-old was able to slip through.
We have the safety barriers in place for a reason, and if there are areas for improvement, then yes, we will make the necessary changes.
This isn't the first incident at the Greater Vancouver Zoo. In 2008, a 4-year-old boy was injured by a hawk during a public participation event. It's also been at the center of numerous allegations of animal mistreatment.
Shame on you!
Today at the zoo, parents have been keeping an extra watchful eye on their kids.
Kids can get in things and, you just kind of always got to be on watch.
You have to be vigilant with your family and with your kids. I am the person who has to manage my child's safety at all times.
Conservation officers say the bear that bit the girl will not be euthanized. The exhibit will be closed while the zoo conducts its own review alongside an RCMP investigation. Tanya Fletcher, CBC News, Aldergrove, BC.
Researchers at Toronto's Sick Kids Hospital are studying why so many people seem to have trouble with car seats. Experts say most Canadians install them incorrectly, putting their child's life at risk. If used properly, car seats can reduce the risk by as much as 70%. As Carolyn Ray explains, researchers hope their study may eventually help more parents get it right.
Oh, it's so snug.
Mohammed Suleiman loves his car seat. Getting strapped in, not so much. This poking and pulling isn't his cup of tea. It only takes a moment for Catherine Hooka to see the way he's positioned isn't quite right. Iman al-Assadi is Mohammed's mother. She's here to have his car seat inspected. The family is from Iraq, where adults simply hold their children in their arms in vehicles. Al-Assadi didn't know where to begin. The proper use of a car seat is something she never had to learn.
I look in the book, but because it's a language, it's hard to read in a book with the direction. But I was like looking on YouTube to figure out how I put the car seat in the car.
So we know that most families are buckling their children in some way, but we do know that there are a lot of errors or mistakes or just things that could make the seat safer.
Hudka uses a checklist to make sure all the details are just right. Over the years, she's seen it all. Straps cut, tied, twisted. Parents have put their children in car seats without actually attaching the seats to the vehicle.
We have heard from some emergency room physicians who have concerns about the way children are transported. They're really invested in injury prevention because they see the results of those injuries.
It's that concern that is driving a new study at Sick Kids Hospital. It'll look at how children are being transported to the emergency department. It was Hudka's job to train the researchers how to spot the errors.
So for me, I'm looking forward to seeing the result of this study so that we can find out what sort of decisions we need to make or policies or processes that we can put in place to better assist those families who might need help.
In the meantime, she encourages all parents to get their seats checked so babies like Mohammed can have a safe lift home. Carolyn Ray, CBC News, Halifax.
Here are some other stories we're following, including new information in the search for those 2 BC murder suspects. The RCMP says last Friday they found items which they say are directly linked to Cam McLeod and Briar Schmigelski. Friday was also when the Mounties spotted this damaged boat, so they deployed the underwater recovery team on Sunday. The Mounties say a thorough underwater search in the area didn't find anything. So, as of tonight, the last verified sighting of McLeod and Schmigelski remains the one just over 2 weeks ago in Split Lake, Manitoba, shortly before their vehicle was found burning on the side of the road near Gillam. And so now we know that about 9 kilometers away from the abandoned vehicle on the Nelson River, those unspecified items were found. So the suspects were there, but we don't know when. And this remains the last video of the 2 young men who tonight are still at large. And this is what remains of that terrible collision on a highway in Quebec. 4 people killed, 12 injured yesterday when a car collided with a truck, then hit another truck. That began a pileup involving another 6 vehicles and a fire.
People were screaming because we saw those 2 people in those cars burning. We know they were still there.
3 of the injured still in critical condition, and police aren't sure what caused the crash.
Author Toni Morrison has died at age 88. As issues of race seem to overwhelm U.S. politics, that country has lost a powerful voice that chronicled the Black experience. Deanna Sumanek-Johnson looks at what made her a literary trailblazer and how she inspires those who followed.
When she was young, Toni Morrison loved Tolstoy and Jane Austen and aspired to be like them. But as she grew up, Morrison found a loftier calling, telling stories in her own voice, the voice of a Black American woman.
You open your mouth and speak and appropriate the story and the language and everything else, then it does belong to somebody else. It's your job to intervene into that discourse.
In 1987, her novel Beloved made her a literary star. It told the story of a woman fleeing slavery who kills her small child to keep her free from a life of bondage, a very difficult subject.
First publication.
But according to Morrison's Canadian publisher and friend of 25 years, that was part of her genius.
She was unblinking about looking at what was most challenging and most difficult and finding in it what was most human and humane.
In 1993, Morrison became the first Black woman to win the Nobel Prize for Literature. Her star kept rising as Beloved was adapted into a movie starring Oprah Winfrey.
So help me, Jesus.
She was enormous for me.
By reading Morrison, a new generation of Black writers found their own voice.
I thought, I'm not really sure that's something that is available to somebody like me. I didn't see a lot of Black women writers who I could sort of use as models.
Morrison always feared young people would forget the horrors of slavery and segregation.
Almost nobody now can remember how hard that was.
When Donald Trump was elected president, she wrote an essay attributing his win to a yearning for the return of open white supremacy. As America faces dark and divisive days, her famous admirers mourn the loss of a voice that reached the hearts of millions. Deanna Sumanak-Johnson, CBC News, Toronto.
And still ahead, after 50 years, two brothers meet for the very first time. Their emotional reunion is our moment.
But next, Montreal tennis fans come down with a bad case of Felix fever.
I will be in shock. Yeah, to see you in person. It's the first time I've seen a celebrity.
Sadly, it was an all-Canadian first round, but at least one Canadian got through.
Bouncing back from injuries, 19-year-old Bianca Andreescu beat 25-year-old Eugenie Bouchard tonight in women's singles at the Rogers Cup in Toronto. It was an all-Canadian matchup at the men's singles event in Montreal today, too. And as Alison Northcott explains, the dramatic result fueled Felix fever.
Playing in front of a hometown crowd, Félix Auger-Aliassime says this is a dream come true. Today, he faced fellow Canadian Vasek Pospisil. Winning the tense match on the coveted center court was a big moment.
It's going to be a great memory in my mind, for sure, with that kind of match too. The crowd's just amazing here, not only for me, but I think for every player. And for a kid from Montreal to step on this court and get a win, it's something really special.
Auger-Aliassime, who turns 19 this week, has shot up in the ranks this year. He's currently the youngest player in the men's top 100 and broke the top 25. Winning a lot of fans along the way.
What do you think it would be like to see him in person like that? I will be in shock. Yeah, to see you in person. It's the first time I've seen a celebrity.
For young players like Caden Colburn, Auger-Aliassime is a big draw.
So good. Tries so hard. He's really focused on the court and has a high intensity.
Auger-Aliassime has played in tournaments all over the world, including Wimbledon last month. His Montreal fans are happy he's home.
I think it's a great boost for the Rogers Cup, of course, and we're going to enjoy every second of it.
Still, amid all the attention and the autographs, Auger-Aliassime keeps his head in the game with the maturity many say is beyond his years.
He has a good time, but he's just relentlessly serious and determined to be the best tennis player in the world. And it's rare that you see that combined with the talent to do it.
Auger-Aliassime will be looking to prove that once again when he faces Milos Raonic in the second round for another Canadian matchup. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Montreal.
And up next, the Ontario summer camp that brings together teens who might otherwise have never thought to become friends.
Israel's not magically changing in the background while they're here, so it's about what they can take with them from here.
From the outside looking in, may seem like a typical Canadian summer camp. But what sets this camp apart? The people and their purpose. It's called Heart to Heart. It takes place in southeastern Ontario. And for about 3 weeks every summer, it brings together Jewish and Palestinian teens. Now, these campers do already have a fair bit in common. They're all Israeli citizens, and they share a progressive perspective on the conflict that has plagued the region for decades. But as we discovered, Heart to Heart wants to turn those campers into leaders with the tools necessary to find a solution.
One dancing station will be in the Beit Targut. One dancing station will be on the Mirpaset.
The goal of the program is really about giving the youth a different perspective on what's possible. We're not going to solve this conflict in 3.5 weeks at summer camp in Canada. We know that. But what we can do is empower young people with the skills the relationships and the experiences that can support them going forward.
Okay, so for now, just think about an experience of oppression that you've had or you've witnessed that sits with you. Okay, what do you see here?
I want them to know how we live as Palestinians in Israel. Our life is not easy, it's very hard for us. My name is Salma Haikal. I'm from Kufr Karir village, and my age is 15.
Can we thank this group's courage to share these images?
They don't know nothing about our history, about what happened with us. I want them to know what happened in the West Bank and Gaza.
What I'd like everyone to do is, if you're on this half of the room, I'd like you to stay in the pose.
Before I came here, no one that I knew was Arab, no one that I knew was Palestinians, because we don't have in our school, we don't have in our kibbutz. So my name is Mai. I'm from kibbutz Barkai and I'm 15 years old. It looks like they have rocks, they have guns.
Okay.
I hope that the Arabs and Palestinians that are here can go out from this program understanding about the Jews, that we're not all killers, we don't all want war.
I want to do a lot of things, but I can't. As a Palestinian in Israel, I don't feel like we have the rights that Jewish people have.
So what do you see when you see this picture?
The Israeli occupation control us. I think like if you're under occupied and you can go to another place, it's very hard, it's very not fair.
Can you someone translate? Discrimination.
I don't have problem with Jewish people. I have problem with the government. I came here to see what other opinion and talk about my opinion.
We as Jews are now in Israel. You have to understand that that's like the way I hope it's gonna stay, but I don't mean like, oh yeah, Arabs, throw them away. Okay, just like be angry, like, okay, just could be a... I wanted to come here because I feel like it's important for me to get to know new opinions in a safe and neutral environment. That's like a place that we can be ourselves.
Okay, do you have fun like holding hands?
Here we're one group. We're not Israelis and Palestinians, we're one group.
That's so funny, you can't even stop smiling. So yeah.
We have a variety of foods this evening that include food from the Palestinian kitchen and the Israeli kitchen.
The group is accompanied by two people from Israel, one Jewish and one Palestinian.
We have mjaddara. Do you know what is mjaddara?
Samira is a Palestinian citizen of Israel. She is deeply committed to this work. She's doing it with her whole heart.
I want to do this work because I believe that Jews and Arab live in the same place, but they don't have the chance to understand each other. They are like regular teenagers, to swim, to play, to make fun together. They are just kids, they are just teenagers that have a big dreams, and they want to make it a true together, not separate.
Annette is our Jewish chaperone. She is new to Heart this summer. She's been amazing.
First, you could see that every group separate, Jew by themselves, Arabs by themselves.
What is your name in Arabic?
But these weeks, we can see how they getting involved, more involved. They're sitting together, They're dancing together. It's a community that accepts them more than Israel.
Freedom of religion, right? Right? Freedom of expression, belief, opinion, and media.
One of the activities that we do with the participants is introducing the idea of a constitution, which is something that Israel doesn't have.
If you guys can come up with 4 different themes that you want to talk about, that would be great.
And really it's a jumping off point for envisioning what kind of society they want and thinking about what rules would need to be in place, what laws would need to be in place in order to create that society based on their values.
Great. Share with your partner.
So, what did you write?
Okay, freedom of thought and speech.
Okay, definitely. Yeah.
In schools, every children have to learn the full history on both sides.
Okay.
Break the border in Gaza, in the West Bank and Gaza. Break the border. Doing the constitution with Maya was pretty good because she had the same opinion about the constitution. But like when we get to the border point, like she stopped me and like, let's change something. I didn't like it, but it's okay.
I feel like we do need to do that, definitely, but first like kind of help them, like start giving them food, helping them build shelter, doing something to help them instead of just like open the border and saying, Alababa, like go away. I think in the beginning it was kind of hard, like having her to understand like what I meant and what she meant. I don't know about the constitution.
We will write like everyone is equal.
Okay.
Including West Bank, Gaza.
Okay, wait. But then we actually got each other and just like wrote the constitution the way that I think it's supposed to be, like the best way it can be.
Everybody give yourself a big pat on the back. And give the person next to you a pat on the back. And the person... I hope that they remember each other and the different opinions and perspectives that they've had a chance to hear and think about, because I think it's going to be a long road for them. Israel's not magically changing in the background while they're here. So it's about what they can take with them from here.
My friends here are the best in the world and I want to keep in touch with every single one of them. It was one of the most empowering experiences that I've ever been through.
Hard, too hard, 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 too hard, hard, too hard.
What I learned most here is no matter what, Jewish, Arab, don't judge because you don't know what happened in their life.
Okay, now you can sit back down.
Just ahead, who needs bear repellent when you've got Metallica on your side?
I don't know if outdoor stores want to pull all the bear spray off their shelves and recommend that, but hey, it worked for me for sure.
How the heavy metal band may have saved your life.
I'm Jamie Poisson. Tomorrow on CBC's daily news podcast Frontburner, acclaimed novelist, Nobel laureate, and Pulitzer Prize winner Toni Morrison died at the age of 88. Her life and work inspired countless writers. We'll speak to 2 of them. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Here's what else we're following tonight on The National. 1 year after a prisoner escaped from a New Brunswick jail, we're learning why and how he did it. Kevin Beaulieu was exercising last July in what was supposed to be a secure yard. A report obtained by CBC News says he scaled a fence and slipped under a section of razor wire. He was only free for 24 hours before turning himself into police. Japan has marked the 74th anniversary of the Hiroshima bombing. It was August 6, 1945. More than 70,000 people were killed instantly when the U.S. dropped an atomic bomb on the city. The Prime Minister Shinzo Abe today reaffirmed his call for a world free of nuclear weapons.
We want to expand our horizons and raise our level of ambitions in the world. And as part of that, we want to take our friendship with Canada and the Canadian people to the next level.
And Britain's new Foreign Secretary paid his first bilateral visit today to Canada. He stressed that Boris Johnson's government sees opportunity in the world, putting a positive spin on the future beyond Brexit.
Now, Canada's Foreign Minister, Chrystia Freeland, also thanked her British counterpart for standing with Canada on another front, the continued Chinese detention of two of this country's citizens. These days, Beijing has little more than scorn for the Canadian government. So we had asked Sasha Petrusik to look into whether that's affecting how Chinese citizens view the Canadian brand. And here's another look at what he found.
A hockey stick opens the Canadian experience in Shanghai. The door sign promises nice people inside. And once you get past the local greeting at China's first Tim Hortons, a blast of Canadiana unmatched by any Tims back home, almost like visiting the Great White North, says Hang Zhan, who studied in BC.
Like Canada, it's kind of like another Canada Day in Shanghai. It works.
Lumberjacks behind the counter, maple leaves on the walls. And tucked in the back,
and we have a fireplace which creates the warm feeling.
A cozy little nook decorated with the Toronto skyline. Try doing that in Calgary. Why all this unabashed Canuck branding? Because it sells here, says the man in charge of Tim's China.
And I really like the values of Tim Hortons, which reflects the value of Canada. For example, the generosity, inclusiveness, and the community, which we believe are very relevant to Chinese people as well.
What's more, this woman says it evokes images of wholesome food, beautiful mountains, and clean rivers. Maybe, says Alec Chan, but these days in China, Canada's taken a double-double dose of trouble. And while it hasn't kept him from trying the coffee, this store is coming here at the wrong time, he says. Why? Because of what Canada's done to Huawei, he says. The tech company is very important in Chinese people's hearts. So when they see the maple leaf these days, some see red. Certainly, the Chinese government has taken a tough line, condemning and pressuring Canada over the arrest of Huawei executive Meng Wanzhou at Washington's request. In retaliation, it seems, Beijing has held two Canadians on accusations of spying for almost 6 months, and Canadian imports, especially farm products, have suddenly faced punishing delays or bans at the border. The Business Council that represents Canadian companies in China says almost 20% of its members have faced some kind of trouble dealing with Chinese officials recently.
Business can tell it's being impacted, but it doesn't feel that it has the power to change the situation, that the resolution of the situation is squarely in the hands of the two governments, and they feel like, they feel a bit helpless.
But for all the official attacks on Canada and Canadians, the mood here on the street is very different. The maple leaf is still liked, and Canada as a brand can still draw a crowd. Take Canada Goose, for instance. The Toronto-based coat maker opened a huge store in Beijing's trendiest mall right in the middle of this dispute. It saw excited posts on China's internet, lineups out the door, and by the end of the first day, a blowhorn announcement that everything was sold out. But it's all still very sensitive. Canada Goose didn't want to talk about its China operations. Tate Lawson is a Canadian who advises companies moving into the Chinese market. He says things become unpredictable whenever Beijing turns its wrath on any country.
If it's the risk of Chinese consumers not liking Canadian brands or boycotting Canadian brands, I think that it's not that great of a risk in the long term, but it can be in the short term, especially for a brand that's a big target.
Canadians aren't the only ones to feel China's anger. 2 years ago, Korean department store Lotte was ordered to close more than 100 stores in a dispute between Beijing and Seoul over Korea's defense system. They've never reopened.
I'll put some things.
Good. Canadian businesses here, like the Canadian international schools, haven't seen that kind of pressure yet.
Yeah. I'll teach you guys.
And staff and students say neither have they. This new campus recently opened in the northeast city of Shenyang, flying the Canadian flag and teaching a New Brunswick curriculum.
When I'm here, the Chinese person across the street, still my friend.
Alan Norman is the school principal.
I don't feel any of that intimidation or angst or fear or, why are you in our country? Or none of those things seem to be stimulated by the buzz that goes on at the government level.
Back at the Shanghai Tim Hortons, that optimistic view is shared by many Chinese customers, even if it isn't exactly the party line. We don't care much about this issue, says Mr. Chen. I wish both countries would just get along and grow rich together. Just maybe over a box of salted egg Timbits. Those are spreading across Shanghai now, with plans for hundreds more Tim Hortons stores across China soon. Sasha Petrusik, CBC News, Shanghai.
Still ahead on The National, two brothers meet for the first time since they were kids.
I recognized him immediately as I saw him come down the walkway. I just knew that was him.
Tonight's moment was 50 years in the making. But first, in case you missed it, a Vancouver Island woman made international headlines for fending off a cougar using heavy metal music.
See you, kitty cat.
Late last month, while hiking with her dog, Dee Gallant was sure that she was being watched.
There's a cougar. This is the first time one actually locked eyes with me and was coming towards me and was focused on me.
She made noise, tried being stern.
Bad kitty.
Then she resorted to music warfare.
I pulled up Metallica, Don't Tread on Me, and I thought that's the perfect message I want to send this kitty.
It seems no one told the cougar Metallica is a big deal, one of the big four thrash metal bands.
And I think it was 3-4 notes, the first intro there, and he just gone.
It was already a great story.
It's crazy. I've been getting interviews from all over the world.
Last Friday, the story got even better.
I got a message this morning from Metallica's liaison that the band was going to reach out to me, so here's hoping.
Sure enough, the lead singer called her up, then sent this image to prove it was really him.
This has just been a ride that I haven't really expected from the beginning.
They were separated during the so-called 60s scoop. Two brothers, just 2 and 4 years old, shuffled through foster homes, scattered across provinces, holding onto hope of someday seeing each other again. And today, hope was rewarded. The brothers were finally reunited. For the first time in 50 years, they saw each other face to face. And that is our moment.
That's it. Oh my gosh, I think that's it.
That's it right there. This is the first time we've seen each other in 50 years, face to face.
I recognized him immediately as I saw him come down the walkway. I just knew that was him.
Nick and I went to one foster home for a little while, but they kept moving us around about every 3 months or so. We have another brother who lives up in Prince Albert named Beryl. He kind of friend requested me, and I finally asked him, is your mother's name Irene? And he came back with, yes, and your father's name is John Sear, and your brother's name is Nick Hallowell, who is currently living in Regina.
Your first words to me were, I'm home, and yeah, you are. For the first time in my life, I feel that we've taken back that right to define ourselves according to who we really are meant to be.
You know, Andrew, on some of these moments, I try to think of something even remotely analogous in my life that helps me understand what people are going through, and I've got nothing that comes close to what it must be like for these two brothers to be reunited.
Yeah, well, and it would be very easy to think of this as a very long journey coming to an end, right? A 50-year journey, except the journey's just getting started. I mean, both of these brothers say they have so much to learn about each other. You heard them mention other brothers that are out there. There are already plans in the works to go and meet them. So, boy, the opening up of a whole world of possibilities really kind of blows your mind when you think about it. That's The National for this Tuesday, August 6th. Have a good night.
Good night.